Okay, huge trade just happened between the Colorado Avalanche and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's dig into this. Now, the Leafs have acquired right shot defenseman Tyson Barrie and forward/center Alex Kerfoot and a 2026 round pick from the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for center Nazem Kadri and left shot defenseman Kadri and Rosen, and Toronto's third round selection in 2020. Now, they just acquired a third round pick from Ottawa. I believe it was in 2020, so they still have a pick there. In any case, it's important to know that Colorado will retain 50% of Barrie's $5.5 million cap hit as part of the transaction. He's only signed for one more season as well, FYI. Now, Barrie, who's 27 years old, is an elite skater and a valuable right-hand shot on the blue line. He recorded a career-high 59 points with Colorado last season. Kerfoot, signed by the Avalanche ahead of the 2017-18 campaign, has tallied 85 points in 157 pro games. The 24-year-old is a restricted free agent who is arbitration eligible at this point in time. That could become a sticky situation. We'll see where that goes. Now, Nazem Kadri, after having a couple of back-to-back 30-goal seasons, went into this past season being pushed down to the third line after the Leafs acquired John Tavares. But the 28-year-old still contributed 44 points in 73 games. Now, Kyle Dubas says he didn't trade. The trade with Kadri had nothing to do with him getting suspended in the playoffs against the Boston Bruins. It was just Colorado really valued him very highly. They desperately needed a second-line center like this. And although Kadri's numbers weren't great, he has potential to pot in 30 goals with some good wingers. So let's get into the player-by-player breakdown here. But starting off with Colorado, now they still have just over $27 million in cap space. A lot of room. There's no one on the LTIR here, but they have some RFAs they got to sign. They have in forwards, they have Kamenev, Burakovsky that they just picked up from Washington, Kampfer, who's also arbitration eligible, and the most important one who's going to cost them the most is Mikko Rantanen at age 22, probably anywhere between $8.5 and $10 million. We'll see. Now on defense, the RFAs they have who are arbitration eligible as well. They're both 24 and left shot defensemen in Ryan Graves, and more importantly, Nikita Zadorov. That mountain of a man is going to need a contract. And bam, there you have it. Now, the goalies they have going into next season, of course, is Philip Grubauer, and they have listed here Pavel Francouz. He's 29 years old, and I haven't even... Oops, there goes my marker. And I haven't even heard of him. So I wonder if they're going to go out and get another backup because Varlamov just signed with another team who we'll get to in another video. This is my fourth of the day. Okay, so Nazem Kadri, he's the big focal point in what the Avalanche get back. He's 28 years old. He's a left shot center, making, and this is the good part about him too, $4.5 million over the next 3 seasons. With the kind of numbers he puts up and the potential he has to get back to, that is a sweetheart contract. Now, he's 6 foot, 192 pounds from London, Ontario, which is also where he played minor hockey. Last season, he had 16 goals, 44 points, and was a -2. Now, the 2 seasons before that, he had 32 goals in both of them, which was a career high for him. And he had... in 2016-17, he had 61 points. In 2017-18, he had 55. He was a +2 one year and -7 the other. So he's a pretty responsible centerman for the most part as well. He's not defensively liable. In the playoffs this past season, in 2 games, he had 1 goal and 1 assist. and was a +2. Was it a +1? That's a +1. Excuse me. In the season before that, 2017-18, in 4 games, he had 2 assists and was dead even in the plus-minus category. So his problem, as you know, in the past 2 playoffs, the Leafs played the Boston Bruins, and he got suspended. One in 5 games in, and or 4 games in, and 1 in 2 games in. So. But I don't think it's had anything to do with it. And I'm sure he's really learned his lesson. I don't see that happening again for the most part. I'm pretty sure it won't happen again with him. So Colorado gets a really good player, a guy who steps in the second-line center, which is fantastic for them. They really needed that. And they're going to look like a mean team next year. Now, Kadri and Rosen, the other player they get in the deal, he's a left shot, left defense. He's 25 years old, from Sweden, 6'1", 186 pounds. Now, last season, for the most part, he spent it with the Marlies in 54 games. He had 7 goals and 46 points. Was a +8. He had a 4-game cup of coffee with the Leafs last season. Had 1 goal, 1 point, and was a -3. In the season before that with the Marlies, in 62 games, he had 4 goals, 22 points, and a +1. Again, he played 4 games with the Leafs in 2017-18 with 1 assist and a -3. So this guy has, I know he's getting a little up there in age, but he does have some potential. Minimum, he's good for third as a third pairing defense. But when you're stuck in a pinch, he may even be able at in the second pairing. But third, I think the Leafs wanted to start him there anyways this coming season. He's good at transporting the puck. And he's decently defensively responsible. So they got a good player. The other good thing about him, as is Kadri's contract, is that it's only $750,000 cap hit per year, and he's signed for the next 2 years. And Colorado's got a bunch of defensemen in there as well. He's not going to be asked to play more than the third pairing. I mean, let's look at their defense lineup here. On the left, Ian Cole, Mark Barbiero, Kevin Connaughton, Samuel Girard, Ryan Graves. He's not stepping into second pairing action anytime soon. He'll probably maybe they'll get him a shot here and there at third pairing. In any case, I blabbed long enough about that. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's get. They now have just over $11 million in cap space, plus some money that's on the LTIR, $5.3 million from Nathan Horton. So that adds up to just over $16 million. But they got to use that now to sign Alexander Kerfoot, who's arbitration eligible at 24 years old, and Mitchell Marner, of course. That's where most of the money's probably going. The Leafs will probably try and squeeze him as much as they can. Hopefully they can sign him for under 10. Hopefully closer to $9 million would be nice, Mitch. Now, on the defense, they have Cody Ceci, who they just acquired from the Ottawa Senators. There's talk if it goes to arbitration with him, because he's eligible this year, it could cost them about $4.5 million. I know, right? Crazy. So I wouldn't know why the Leafs wouldn't just walk away, try and sell him, sign him for super cheap. If it goes to arbitration, is there no way in which they just can't walk away from it? And they lose him for nothing, but but they need the money more. I think. I know they really need a right shot defenseman, and now Tyson Perry's the only one they have, and Justin Hull, who is iffy at a third pairing. And Travis Dermott, he's a left shot defenseman, but he's been playing the right, but he's injured until November-ish because of his shoulder. So they might sign him at 4.5. That's going to be tight though, and then trade him as soon as Dermott comes back. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. The money issue between those 3 players is going to be a little tricky, but. Let's talk about Tyson Barrie. Now, he's the cap hit is only going to be $2.750 million because the Avalanche keep half of that. He's 5'10", 190 pounds. He's right shot, right defense, which the Leafs so desperately need. The thing is, he's only signed for one more season. That's the sucky part in the deal. Now, the good part. He in 78 games last season with Colorado, he had 14 goals and 45 points for 45 assists for 59 points, and was a -3. He had a career best that season, and the season before he was close to that too. 14 goals as well and 57 points. The only thing is he was worse in the plus-minus category with -15. He is not known. You have to go back to, looking through here, to 2014-15 to when he was a plus player. So him being -3 this past season isn't too bad. Now in the playoffs this past season, in 12 games, he had 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points, and was a +1. In the playoffs in 2017-18, in 6 games, he had 4 assists, and he was a -3. So he's obviously going to be on the top pairing with Morgan Riley. Finally, a top pairing right defenseman. Just, you can tell I'm a bit of a Leaf fan. I'm sorry. Now, Alexander Kerfoot. He's a center who also plays left wing. He shoots left. He is from Vancouver, British Columbia. He's 5'10", 175 pounds. He's 24 years old, so still pretty young. And last season he had 15 goals, 27 assists for 42 points in 78 games, and was a -9. In his first season, which was 2017-18, in 79 games, he had 19 goals and 43 points for -7. So pretty good point totals for a third-line center. They're actually pretty similar to what Kadri's was last year, but that was Kadri's first time as a third-line center and not as a second-line / first-line center, which is why his production went down. But, I digress. In the playoffs, in 12 games, Kerfoot had 3 assists, 3 points, and was a -1. In the playoffs in 2017-18, in 6 games, he had 2 goals and 2 points, and was a -1. So, decent player. They get there to replace Kadri. So Jason Spezza, who they acquired early on in the day, will still be playing fourth-line center, which is fantastic, which he'll be perfect in. He's a face-off beast, also, BTW. And, okay, there you have it. What do I think of this trade? Who wins this trade? Wow. I gotta say, Toronto gets the better players. But Colorado gets really what they want is Nazem Kadri. Kadri Rosen is kind of parsley, really, for the type of left defense they have right now. But he's still young and can be impactful in the future as a depth defense. Kadri is going to be huge for them, especially under that sweetheart of a deal. They desperately needed a second-line center on that team, and Colorado's looking really good for next season. They're all but guaranteed to get into the playoffs. If Philip Grubauer can continue playing as well as he did in the playoffs and late last season, we'll see about that. If they add another backup over there, because they just lost Varlamov as a UFA. But Toronto finally gets a top pairing right defenseman, which is huge, and they still get a pretty decent third-line center in Kerfoot. The only problem with both those players is the contracts, because Barry's got only 1 more year left, and yeah, I guess, hey, if you can't get what you want, you get what you need. And there you have it. I think both teams walk away really nice, really happy with this one. It's sad to see Kadri go, but yeah. There you go. As always, I would love to hear what you have to think of this trade in the comment section down below. I'm looking for my marker. There it is. And please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.